I have this recurring thought. It's almost like this thing. What do you call that? Oh, by the way, I shouldn't start the podcast like that. I've realized, and I don't do it intentionally. Like, oh, guys, look at this guy. He's so meta. Like, he just starts on a thought. Like, no. By the way, welcome to the podcast. How's it going? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guy and you gal or you thing of creation is you're enjoying yourself and doing good in your mind and good in your body, good in your soul. But let me get back to the point. I was, revisited by this idea that it comes from this sense of everything's being archived nowadays, right? Like your search history, your consuming, your consumption patterns, everything's being tracked. And of course, we give everything freely, sometimes not so freely, but we give it freely, then we're like, I didn't say, okay, to that privacy setting being violated, Facebook. One of those self-righteous anger, right? Because let's be honest, none of us fucking bother to read through the terms that Facebook or Apple or any of those platforms or companies or products makes us agree with before we sign up. So actually, we don't know what the fuck's going on. But then they bring it to our attention. So clearly, it's not a very big thing for them if they are bringing it to our notice. Or some really, really anal guy who's got nothing else to do, probably has nothing to look forward to. His wife's cheating on him. And he's like, I'm going to go through the details of the Facebook agreement. And then he brings up saying, do you know that the photos you are putting on Facebook is being shared to some shit? Or you have whistleblowers, like whatever her name is. Nancy Pelosi, no, that's not Nancy Pelosi, something, some shit, whatever. She's no longer news. She's no longer relevant in my life. I really can't remember her name. And then suddenly everyone's up in arms going, we never agreed to this. But fuck off. You really didn't care when you were signing, when you were agreeing. Because if you really did care about how much of your information is being accessed and how much is being shared and distributed to other parties, you really would have sat and read through that 300-page contract if you really cared. But it's designed for you it's designed to be overwhelming in language, which is overwhelming. I think that's the entire sort of fucking mystery of why. It's an entire ecosystem of lawyers, right? They create language that only they can understand, and then you have to pay them to interpret the stuff that they've created, and most of it is junk. It's probably an internal joke amongst lawyers, like fucking these morons, $500 an hour. Yeah, it's stupid writing sometimes. It's really unnecessary. Good, because, great man, a great person said, good communication is simple communication, clear communication. But lawyers are ready to fucking twist that up for everyone. So, fuck you, lawyers. Even though I might need one of you when I'm signing contracts with big companies, and I have needed you. A couple of dear friends are lawyers. So, not fuck them, but fuck mainly most lawyers. Because you make complicated things. Right. So, my thing is, there is stuff out there. Whether we've, with our consent or without our consent, shared to the internet or to platforms that use the internet. And, it mainly comes from a point, like there is stuff, like I was just thinking about how I introduced this podcast. I've attempted podcasting since 2012. I, in fact, did my first podcast recording. It was called Amusing Musings. Or was that before? There were two. There was one called Soapy Thoughts, which I did. I think that was the first one, which was with these guys who are called content aggregators, or one of these production things called QK, based in Bombay. And they said, we really have a great hope, and we see a lot of potential in you, Sandeep, as a comedian, as an entertainer, as a YouTuber, as a content creator. And for the life of them, they couldn't really think of what I'm good at. They're like, do something, try something, to have a conversation with yourself. And they shot a double angle. They said, how about doing mock ads? So I did one fucking thing. It's out there, dude. It's out there. It's on their channel. But we shut down the channel, fortunately. It's some crap that I've created. And I'm not like, whoa, I hope that never comes out. But I'm just like, ugh. And mainly not out of embarrassment. It's just like shit. When you don't know what you want to put out, and when others convince you that they think that this will be good, oh, it's a bad idea. And it's out there. It's out there in the ether. So the Soapy Thoughts, it was be like me. Someone said, dude, we think you have a good voice. You should do podcasts. And I'm like, hi, so, guys. And a little bit of an accent, acting like a fucking cunt. It was horrible. And I was like, so, yeah, I was thinking, maybe I'm still a cunt now. Maybe I still sound like one now, but much less than what that sounded like. And it's like, yeah, so I was just thinking the other day, what's up with society? What's up with like women going? I'm like, oh God, when I listen to that. And then I thought, okay, fuck this. 5 people are listening. I'm not going to stick to this shit. I'd rather do shows where 8 people come. Then I said, oh, you know what? I like going online and looking at nice equipment. So I ended up buying a mic. It's called the Blue Yeti. It's a nice looking microphone. Looked really professional. A condenser mic. I'm like, let me fucking buy a mic and start another podcast. That was called Musings. I would do that from the comfort of my desk in my apartment, which my wife and I were renting at that time. And again, I would turn up the bass and be like, hi, so hello, yeah. And then Sanjay, who's a fellow comedian and a friend, he's like, dude, why do you take so much time to get to the point? Put on like 5 bullet points and talk about it right away. No one gives a fuck about what you're thinking. I'm like, why? What do you mean? Like, isn't that the point of a podcast? Like, my thoughts. And yeah, it was called Soapy Thoughts, Musings. Musing is a form of pondering, thinking. I didn't understand. Anyway, did a few more episodes of that. I did a few more of the musings than Soapy Thoughts. Then again, I said, fuck it, fuck podcasting. 5 when 30 people are listening. I'm like, where are the numbers? I need to go viral, bitch. I need to go viral. So I started doing some sketches. There's one sketch which Sanjay helped me make called the MBA proposal. That was the character I was doing on stage in stand-up. Like the guy called Sandeep. Hello, my name is Sandeep. You can call me Sand. I got 3.5 years work experience. I'm the CEO of a startup. So it is mocking this guy who I actually used to work with in a company called Aditi Technologies. And he used to, to put it politely, bother the fuck out of me. So I did this character to vent frustration on the stand-up stage. But then I was like, someone's like, do it on YouTube. You'll get more views. You'll become more viral. Again, it's out there. I'm not very proud of it. But what I'm trying to get to is, then you start putting stuff that you want to do. And it might not be the best. It might not be the most successful. It might not reach the most number of people as, there's examples of this with analytics. But when you enjoy it and you're doing it for yourself, the embarrassment or the cringe factor is a lot lower. Yeah, you might look back. Well, I might look back at this 30 years down the line. I'm like, what was he talking about? But I know what I'm doing this for. And that's the biggest difference. And I think I might have mentioned this briefly or elaborately on the previous episode about doing things for yourself. Because I've been asked to do voiceovers. See, the segues are getting smoother. Just note to self, hey, beautiful, like the history one with Christopher. I hope you guys, by the way, enjoy that episode because I really enjoy talking to Christopher C. Doyle, the historical fiction author. I really enjoyed that conversation and enjoy today's as well. Hey, it's coming up. But I believe, that I've given my voice and I've done some ads. Okay, I'll tell you the ads I've done if you want to go check it out since, I'm just being humble, modest. So I did 2 voiceovers recently. I don't know if they've come out. One is for Scriptbox. It's at mutual funds thing. And I did another one for this thing called Sport It. And I just realized that everyone... Okay, and I did a couple of older ads for Myntra. They had this sale... you can see that ad. Sanjay and I are in that. He's playing laptop. I'm playing the PC. Basically, of course, very original idea, which was not at all inspired by the Macintosh and PC. But anyhow, I have to tell you this. It's actually something I might even do on stage because I thought about this seriously. I was supposed to do an ad for Raymond's. Britannia and Raymond's, they both came in quite close on each other's heels, the request. And the Raymond's ad was for a black collection suit, right? And they thought, hey, what's more black than blindness? Not my words, their words. And then they said, we would love you to audition for the ad. And then I was almost signed on to be the black ambassador for Raymond's Black Collection as a visually impaired guy. Then they realized, wait, the semantics got into the lawyers, the fuckers came in with their language. No, Raymonds, we will object to this because legal backlash might be experienced at a future date when someone realizes that you are marketing a black collection which is total blackness, but it's being modeled by a visually impaired person who is not fully blind, therefore not black. I mean, color is always not. There was never in question. It was more the sight. So black being blind, visually impaired being who the fuck knows what color. So someone else got it. Some person, and I'm sure you've seen this, a blind guy wearing a black suit by Raymond's. I think someone told me it's in theaters, and apparently he doesn't do a very good job of wearing that suit. No offense to my blind brother from someone's mother. But this is what I mean. We're not a community. We're two individual blind people. He's blind, I'm visually impaired. He gets the Raymond ad because he's fully blind. I didn't get it because I'm not fully blind, but fuck me, I would have looked way better in that suit. Just saying, because I've been told I look fucking sexy. But trust me, who wants to wear a fucking Raymond suit anyway? They would have paid me a little money, but Armani, if you want me to wear your suit, maybe not Armani. I'd like to wear something like I can't pronounce, like Canali or a Kenzo or a Versace or Paresh Lamba. I wear Paresh Lamba suits. He's a very good tailor and designer in Bangalore. I wear his suits. Anyhow, so fuck you, Raymonds, for going with that. Anyway, if you are coming up with a grey collection, like borderline grey, brown, kind of blackish, let me know, because I'm totally out to whore myself out there. Okay, fuck that. Cringeworthy later. So that was the Raymonds ad which I was in. Myntra, yeah, it's okay. Not too cringeworthy, but I'm sure I'll look back at it. But anyway, but one thing I'm glad of is I haven't done too many of those. Or maybe 5. That's the 3 Myntra pieces, the Raymonds, which never happened. Raymonds Britannia never happened. And this one, the 2 voiceovers. Did I give my voice to anything else? Maybe some things at Indigo when I worked there as a radio host. No, I don't think. I've given a couple of screen tests for, I forget which product it was. I think it might have been Complan. Oh fuck, I think it might have been Complan, but it's not out there. I did one ad for Amazon. It was I think 2015 or 16 Diwali. I did one for their great festival, whatever that shit they call Great Indian, because that's apparently what makes India great. Just doing stupid things, and I got really cheesed off because this ad, it never got, at least the part I was shot in, never got screened. But it was me with this lady who was playing my wife, going and giving gifts and seeing the joy of giving gifts to children in underprivileged parts of Delhi. Poor parts. Let's fucking, why be wishy-washy with the language, right? And the worst part I found about that is this production house who shot it, they gave all these boxes. The kids were like opening it, looking really happy. And then I was like giving away these boxes. I was like fucking blind Santa, right? I was playing the blind, not playing the blind card, but they wanted my blindness to be a feature, like the visually impaired aspect to be a feature in the ad, because they look at this guy, he can't see, but he's bringing joy to people's faces, to kids' faces, and they wanted me to be in a good light. They wanted the kids to be happy. So they did all that. The sparklers and the fucking things were happening. And then the first part, they took back the fucking boxes from these kids. And I was like, you bitch fuckers, just give them something. They're like, no, we paid the parents some money as a token of appreciation. I'm like, give the fucking gifts. The joy is where they get to rip it open and enjoy it, whatever it may be. It may be a stupid fucking Amazon Basics t-shirt, but give it to them, man. Don't take back a box, because the worst thing you can do to a kid is, I mean, a kid, first of all, who doesn't have much in life and doesn't have much to look forward to, is to fucking first bring them onto this set of an ad and then make them do stupid things and then give them a gift and then take it back. Anyway, I'm not proud that I did that ad, but I'm so glad it didn't come out, that part, because fuck Amazon. Anyway, shipment should be coming in anytime soon. Hey, cash on delivery. So, my point is, cringeworthy stuff is done, but if you're doing it because you want to do it, it's okay. It makes the cringe factor less, is what I cap it off with. So I don't do voiceovers, but if you do come across some of the work, or if you've come across the stuff I've spoken about, the black ad, let me know what you think. Hey, because I personally think I would have done a fucking great job, Raymond's. What's it called? Raymond's, the complete man. Nah, I'm not the complete man. I'm an imperfect man. That'll be a better ad for Raymond's. I remember. Do you guys remember when Bond was seen with Reed and Taylor? I thought Reed and Taylor is it's a fuck all bloody brand. So that is what I've heard. But anyhow, yeah, I fucking have no clue what I'm doing with this. Anyhow, way, sport it. I think that's out. There are 3 voiceovers I did for that. Anyway, what are you going to do, man? Someone says, hey, would you like to do a voiceover? And they're like, I'm like, no, what's the money like that? And it's not that much money, voiceovers, trust me. And my friend's like, who the fuck are you to charge money? No one knows who your name is. Like, Amitabh Bachchan. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Amitabh Bachchan is Amitabh Bachchan. But I can charge how much I think I deserve, because, you know what? If they're not going to pay me, I'm not going to do it. Who the fuck are you coming in here telling me how much I think I should be charging? Anyway, so too much of that noise. I think that's another point I'm observing, which is recurring. Too much noise. So I think sometimes it's just best to be quiet for some time. Lay low, rub one out, enjoy your habits, whatever it may be, your vices, if you like, doing whatever, jerking off, or I don't know, man, whatever floats your boat. If you like spending time with your pets, if you like eating, cooking, ironing, whatever, but just do it. You don't have to contribute to this noise. The ether is full, the ether is loud. So take it easy. Have a cup of tea. Sit back, relax. Maybe a beer whenever you're listening to this. In the afternoon, it's okay with an afternoon beer. Because the reason I'm saying all these things is because there's a good conversation coming up with a man who's a friend and a comedian. We go back quite a few years. He started his stand-up career a couple of years after me. We were close, in the early 2010s. And then, of course, life happened and we got caught up. I got caught up with my own thing. He got caught up with his own thing. And, of course, then he exploded as a very, not literally, he lost weight, in fact. I don't know, whatever Kunal did, but he became quite a big name on the comedy circuit. Lot of polarizing. I don't know if it's opinions, but he spoke a lot about stuff which polarized people, whether it's pro or anti BJP, whatever. He did a lot of things, came into the limelight, got a lot of focus. He's got a lot of followers and a lot of fans, and that's why he's on this podcast. Oh shit! But anyway, so sit back, relax, because it's a fun chat about our friendship going back, the stuff we experienced as comedians in the early days of Indian stand-up comedy, some of the stand-up gigs that we did, some of the horrific rooms that we performed at, some fun things that we shared, some of the things that drive his stand-up, where he was, what he became, what influenced him, the journey of what influenced some of the things he ended up doing, some of the decisions he took, to where he is today and what he has planned for today, the work he's putting out in the near future, and all of that kind of fun stuff. So I'm sure you'll enjoy the conversation, and I'm sure you've heard of the man, Mr. Kunal Kamra. That's who is on today's episode. Enjoy it. Do share it with a friend. Do share it with anyone. And if you're a fan of Kunal Kamra, fucking share it around, man. Share it around, because this needs to be out there. And don't look back in anger. Don't look forward in hope. Just look at it right now. And let's not contribute. What the fuck are you talking about? Let's not contribute to the noise. Is what I want to say. Let's not contribute to the noise. And for a change, sit back, stay quiet, and listen. See you on the other side. Mr. Kunal Kamra, how are you, my friend? Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Sandeep. How are you? Long time.
It actually has been a while. Last we spoke was on Clubhouse when it was a hot new thing.
Yeah. And then right now it's just become really fucked up.
I think when they open it to Android, no? No, man, all honesty, it was, a friend sent it to me. He said, dude, you really sort of gel with this platform that you can talk and you can share your opinions. It's like a podcast, but it's a room where people actually listen to you. I'm like, thanks, man. Basically implying no one listens to my podcast. But that fact, I don't know, because since then I've been invited to join 2 new platforms. One's called Wisdom, where you can monetize your gyan, as they call, as the name might suggest. You talk and people join you, and the more time they keep you on the platform, the more they pay you some points. And then some other one called Fireside. But I don't know. What have you been up to past a year since we spoke?
I'm just avoiding these platforms actually, mostly because.
But how do you? Because you're quite what's the word? Popular, and people want to hear your opinions, right? In times of whatever it may be, whether it's a new political reform or anyway. I want to get to that later. But what have you been doing to stay sane?
So I finally last year decided that I have to take a very important decision, whether I'm a full-time comedian or not.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, if I'm a full-time comedian, then every full-time comedian, however good or bad they are, they have a comedy special. So I must write a comedy special.
Yeah.
So I wrote a comedy special whole of last year in the lockdown. And then I started workshopping it. I went and I did about 110 shows of that special. And then,
excellent. Okay. In 2021. Okay.
In actually just 2 months, to be very honest.
That's a lot of shows.
2.5 months. Yeah.
That's crazy,
because
man.
I just filled 20 people in a small room.
No, I mean, I don't think you have an issue filling up numbers, but how do you do 110 shows in 110 days? That means that's almost that's the maths, right?
Not really. I start with a Thursday. So I do Thursday 6 o'clock. That sells out. Right. Then I put 8 o'clock. Then I put Friday 6 o'clock. Then I put 8 o'clock. Then I put Wednesday. Yeah. So then I release the link for one show at a time so that people get it. the tickets, and then finally.
Sorry, these were in person or online?
In person.
Oh, you did them? Okay, cool. So you didn't
Yeah,
do those virtual rooms where you... Oh God, they were disasters, dude.
Not at all.
I hear some people about their setup. They're like, yeah, what I did was I bought a Canon camera. It tracks my movement. I put a mock stage at home. I've green screened it. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that when you're not getting any feedback, dude? Like, and I let 4 people in the front row. I'm like, what front row? They're like, the virtual front row. It just sounds disastrous.
It does sound disastrous.
So where did you do these? In Bombay?
So I did it at that comedy club. Then I went to
That's still
Chandigarh.
open, dude?
Yeah, that is still open.
Okay, good to know.
In Bombay, it is still open. So I did that comedy club. The acoustics are good and 25 seats per show. So I did like a run of 32 shows there in 10 days.
Nice.
Then I did the same thing in Pune around the same time. Then I did Kolkata. I did 12 shows in Kolkata. Then I did 12 in Chandigarh. Then I did about 25 in Delhi. So totally, then finally I went back to Pune. Then I recorded the special there. Now we're in the middle of editing it. So
you've recorded the special. Okay, and where did you did you do like an auditorium or again a small room?
Yeah, I did a small room because I have played auditoriums only with comedy bits. I have never played auditorium with a special which has a theme or something of that sort. So I was like, I don't want to risk recording in a bigger room, and also I think it's comedy. Yeah? I mean, in 20 people the joke is funny, in 200 people it's funnier. Like, it doesn't matter.
You know, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, right? Because typically, if I had made a statement like that, it would probably come from a point that, oh, you can't fill up a bigger room, that's why you're bitching it out and saying a smaller room's better. But you've done the biggest rooms that India has to offer. I think you've done even pretty much auditoriums abroad as well, and you've sold out. And I think that's an interesting field, right? Because when I recorded Thank You, I'm Sorry, it was the first time I'm actually scripting a special, in the sense, the closest I've got to scripting a show, right? Where I know what's coming next as opposed to just going on a tangent, riffing, having a ball, whatever. And I genuinely didn't feel comfortable. Like, I had a good show, but maybe if I'd done it, like as you said, 100 runs before, maybe it would have been good. But the feel I get from a smaller room, and of course this comes from a place of just enjoying the vibe. I feel like when you're doing 1,000-seater, the few shows I have done in a group show, when I'm doing like in those multi-format shows, like when it's like, you have 5 comedians, each doing 15 minutes, it's so much easier to just bring out your best banging bits, and then you're just sort of like you're riding on this really high note, and every comedian is bringing out their best, so it's just this high, and people are laughing like waves. And I think that energy, I don't know, is it hard to sustain in a 1 hour sort of? I mean, have you done a special for a big crowd?
See, I've done my live show, like I called it Fresh Thoughts, then I called it Fresher Thoughts, but it was never a special,
right?
It was just like watching Kunal Kamra live, and that is...
Now, was there a coherent sort of flow to it, or was it just your 15 bits put into some sort of flow?
Not at all. They were just like 8 to 10 bits, and there was just... I would move from one bit to another with a segue that you wouldn't kind of be able to spot. But
so that's called a special nowadays.
No, not at all. What the fuck is that? No.
Yeah, more than 30 minutes, it's a fucking special.
No. I mean, see, it's not about what would be accepted actually as a special. It's about what I would like to put out as a special.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any crap can be accepted as anything in this country, and that's...
I don't think in this country, dude, because I've noticed, like, we can go down that conversation again, like the way now, especially with the bigger platforms in India being Netflix and Amazon, I think across the globe, that's the thing, right? With comedians being picked up. And I think that was the beauty. Like, I'm not dissing anyone special, but it's really not a special. And as you said, it's when a comedian puts out an hour, my understanding was that there is a bit of thought behind it, right? It doesn't have to be theme based, but there's a reason those collection of ideas came together under this name or under this construct of a special, because it starts somewhere, it goes somewhere. It also reflects where you are in life, where your position on topics, or your position on, like, it's strange, like when Louis C.K. talks about his kids, it's just because he talks about the same kids in 5 different specials doesn't mean it's not a special, right? But it's his perspective on his kids growing up, or on his marriage, or whatever it may be. And I find that not there anymore in many specials.
Yeah, I mean, the easier way out is, because see, I think most people who are asked to deliver a special, like, this is this is the starting of my 10th year in comedy.
Yeah, we started. You started
you
a little
were-
after. Yeah,
Yeah, a little after. I think you were in 2009,
9. Yeah, I started in
10.
2009.
Yeah, and I was around 12, 13.
I think, yeah, 11, 12, that's when we met and we were doing
Yeah.
the... Yeah, no, that's when Comedy Store closed and Sanjeev was running the Blue Frog room, remember? That's when you and I met the first time. And
Yes.
never stopped.
We had a great time because the funniest thing was you asking a lady in the front row, so ma'am, what do you do? And she was like telling you what you do, what she does, and she didn't. And at that time, you should not address that you can't see the person.
Yeah.
And you had a vision.
I was too cool, man. I was worried that veneer of too cool will drop like the moment I swear tight jeans and like, DC comic t-shirts. Like, I look back going, oh my god, I cringe.
Yeah, and we had a great time because we of course knew about your special ability of not being able to see the crowd, and we knew that this guy does not know who he's talking to.
Yeah,
like he can see just like 8 feet around him. I have to ring a bell to tell him that his time is up or clap in a certain way. There's a serious problem that he's not addressing, which was fun to watch you at with that, just going through the entire show and doing crowd work. And just
it was terrifying. It added up, man, because it was kind of like such treacherous territory, right? Because as you said, you knew, some people knew in the green room or the production side.
Correct.
But I didn't want to tell, and someone would laugh when I would like, hey, so what's your name, ma'am? And it would be a guy, and they thought I was intentionally doing it. I was like, and I would inside go, oh fuck, and it would just, I was not comfortable at all on stage because maybe the outward experience was more like this guy's navigating it well, but I was terrified of that and not of bombing,
But during that time, from the time I saw you, a time where you should not address this, and a time that you started addressing it. And I think the best joke was that if you have this problem, don't ever fight with your girlfriend in the car. Because if she gets out of the car and leaves, who the fuck is going to drive? And that was the first joke I saw of you addressing it, and then there was a patch I saw you not addressing it. I think when you addressed it, you were far more comfortable on stage. Your energy was far more relaxed. When you did not address it, you were bubbling with energy, force, and a lot of things that you had to do, you thought, to compensate for this.
It was that manic energy, when you're trying to avoid something.
Correct.
You sense that in people, right? When they're insecure and they don't want to talk about their insecurity. It happens. So you're jumping, you're not giving place to breathe. And I used to do that a lot. Like I didn't give place for myself to enjoy my jokes or to deliver my jokes. And because I was like, oh shit, now I come on stage, I pick up the mic, the wires tangled in the mic stand. Like, how do I address it to people? I'm like, some joke, oh, this is like the first night when I was trying to unhook a bra, and I was like, oh fuck, in my head going, how do I get this damn wire out? And then I remember once Atul came and took out the wire because he was in the audience. This is before he started doing stand-up. He had come with his wife. So it was, you're right. And you were...
I was actually the guy who told you that I don't know why you have to do this, because I can just keep the mic stand at the side and give you the mic in your hand, and we had a white tape on the mic so that you knew that this was the mic.
But that was not, that was a weird thing when comedy started out at the store, right? Comedy store, it was very strict. Like you have to audition, you can't move the stand because they have these rules that. And it was almost like you have to go to, it was not comedy school, but it was strict, man. You don't fuck around, because when I started, the British comedians were there, right? And they were like, you put the mic back on the stand, back in the center. And then, Charlotte would get upset if you didn't put the mic properly back on the stand. Then you wouldn't get called back for your next 10-minute slot. I'm like, oh God. In addition to all the...
But you can see 5% of what this motherfucker can see. So how can you put the mic stand back where it is supposed to be, man? It's so unfair.
The weirdest thing, this happened, I got a spot when I was visiting Sanjay in LA. And this guy, Butch Bradley, got me a spot at this massively famous room called the Comedy and Magic Room. Really popular room, really big. And I got it on a Tuesday evening. It was, I think, a 300-seater, sold out, right?
Nice.
And the American comedy clubs aren't like the Comedy Store in the sense, I mean, it's not like the Comedy Store even there. This had like dining things, like a Blue Frog. So people were eating and they could laugh and whatever.
Yeah, you hear sounds of cutlery and...
Oh yeah, definitely.
Service going on.
Definitely, but they were laughing. They were there for the comedy. It's not like you're at a sideshow. But this guy called me up for a 5-minute spot, and I said, "Can you give me the mic in my hand?" And he didn't move the mic stand to the side. So I'm performing the whole time, and I have a vague idea that there's something in front of me, but I'm scared to like move my arm because I'm going to knock the mic onto the first table. So the whole performance, that was in my back of my mind. And as you mentioned, dude, you're not comfortable when you're not in this frame of mind where you can take 5 steps, and if you fall, people understand why. You're kind of like treading on glass, and it's not at all fun to perform.
I know, man, but as a comedian, when we started out and we saw what you were doing, what Sanjay was doing, and what everybody was doing, and we were the ones hosting and going before you and then calling you on and then figuring it. Our whole purpose of being there was that how can we set the stage in such a way that the guy coming after me has no issues.
Yeah.
And I remember asking people also when they used to call me to open for them. I said, "Can I do something better? Can I do something else? Can I say something else? Can I do a bit which will get you onto a warmer audience? Or can I do?
Yeah.
Do you have a bit on elephants? Should I have a bit on elephants? Should I discard my bit because you were going to do one?" So there used to be this sort of camaraderie.
There was that sense for the show to become a success, right? I think that's
100%.
And I remember that very clearly. Like, as a host, you wouldn't go fuck around and say, and I think that's become a little bit more selfish now, where people are like, fuck the act coming after me. I'm going to crush so hard, or I'm going to prove that I'm going to do my material which is either inflammatory, whatever it is, but for the sake of trying something new. And you see this arrogance, right? Like, I'm going to drop like 10 minutes of new stuff, and then you bring the comedian to a dead room. Of course, if you're a good comedian worth your salt, you'll probably get the room in a minute or two, but your job as a host or as an opening act is to, make sure people are in a lighter mood. And I've seen this when Biswa opened for me, and he had no need to, right? He was like, dude, I'm not going to do fucking bits. I'm going to do one bit. But the rest of it is just to warm them up, so they bring you onto a huge cheer because you're recording this damn thing. You put money behind it, and that's the sign of someone who cares about the art, man. It's not like someone who cares about their own ego, going, "I crushed and fucked the other artist,"
100%. And firstly, I've done this entire 120 whatever shows without an opening act. I go on to a crowd without an opening act.
But you don't need an opening act in that way, because they really want you. And okay, I want to actually ask you, do you think when someone like you, and of course you are popular, and I think you're quite renowned across the globe, and I mean there are reaction videos of Kunal Kamra clips. I saw two NRIs like, this guy Kunal Kamra, like he's really like inflammatory, and we all like, and I think those reaction videos are the stupidest thing, because there are two people watching your video and I'm watching them watching your video. I'm like, what's the fucking point of this? But you go on to this stage, right? And sorry for interrupting, but I think it's important just for me to understand. When you go on, right? I mean, you already, the people have come there for you. They know what kind of material you talk about, but it's going to be along those lines and new material. Do you feel an opening act eases it up, or do you feel that the audience are like, fucking get on with it, I want Kunal?
See, there are two reasons to have an opening act. One is comedians not being okay with the fact that people come in during the show.
Okay, so like a delaying tactic.
Yeah, so if the show is supposed to start at 6, the opening act will go by 6:05. By 6:15, hopefully everybody is seated. That's one reason of having an opening act. And I feel that is really like, who the fuck are you? I mean, people are working. They'll be here 10 minutes late. Just be fucking okay with it, okay? Like, you're the one who can be here by 6 o'clock because you don't have a day job.
Correct.
So,
and then the joke that, oh yeah, sorry, can I get you anything, a glass of water, a watch? I'm like, I find that I've heard, but at least 10-15 comedians do that thing. I'm like, dude, they've come, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. And they are not getting the best seats in the house, and you are the guy with the mic. Instead of ignoring people navigate through that, you can just help them, be like, yeah, hey, get that seat, okay, 2 of you, shift here, 2 of you can sit there, yes, 3 of you all just sit there.
That's actually nice you do that, because I think sometimes you make the crowd, you get angry, like, how can you ruin my, I mean, I know some people are obnoxious, they talk and they're loud, that needs to be addressed. But if someone's quietly coming, going, dude, you know what, I really didn't get parking, or I had to drop my kid because I had to make it for the show, you just be understanding, right?
Dude, I on the contrary, in the current special, I tell them to switch on their phones. Because it is so hypocritical for me to be like, now you forget your phone. I don't even think a person is a person anymore. They are just their phone number.
Correct.
So, and their phone is the reason they know me. The phone is, they book the ticket through it. They get that one-time OTP. They use Google Maps to come here. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, I'm not some fucking Lord Falkland that they're going to forget that they have a phone.
Not that, but do you feel that, I mean, there's a lot of these American comedians now have these lockers where they ask the audience to leave the phones in before coming, right? Have you heard of this?
I have heard of this, but they suffer a different problem, which is the material that they are doing, they want it to be a total surprise for the audience, or they
Yeah, I mean,
want
don't you face that issue as yourself, because your stuff is pretty sought after? So do you?
See,
And mainly, I think this is like the point that I'm coming to is: do you feel if someone comes there to with the wrong intention to record it, take it out of context? Because that I'm pretty sure people have done that to your work and to many comedians' works, right? That they take just a snippet, and the kind of stuff you talk about in our country in present times has a big population that wants to, sensationalize you out of context, right?
I totally get that, but that is my problem to deal with.
Yeah,
Because of that fraction of 1% of
yeah.
something happening, I cannot inconvenience 80-90% of the people by asking them to keep their phone out. If someone
Not
passes
out, but
away,
on silent isn't. I think that's just basic. Like you'd keep it silent during a yoga class, or you'd keep it
see,
silent during a.
I mean, of course, that's appreciated, but it's not like if I tell them that it's not like your phone rings, I'm going to throw you out. I'm not a classical musician.
Yeah.
Classical musicians do that because the ringtone may be better than whatever the fuck they're playing.
or maybe a copy, maybe a ringtone version of your tanpura, and sounds better.
Yeah, that sounds better. So I don't have those issues, to be honest. And even if I'm recording, I don't do that because I have realized that all of these are respectability tactics. Asking people to come on time, telling people to switch
I mean,
off their
it's a
phone.
gesture. If you follow it, it would be nice. But I don't think it's like you are an evil person for not doing it.
Yeah, but I am just saying that a person, if they are there to have a good time, it's more important for them to switch off their phones than for you to tell them. Because look at their lives, okay? They're Monday to Friday, okay?
Yeah.
They have specifically given time to have a good time. You don't need to tell them. They know how.
Yeah.
So
But there's a sense of arrogance that I think comes. I mean, I like it when the phone doesn't ring during my show. I remember the funniest was once Sham Bhatt, right?
Yeah,
he was doing a spot at the Comedy Store, and it was one of those shorter spots before he got a thing. And the phone starts ringing, and he's like, "Hey, who's that? Man, this is a comedy show, phone." It turns out to be his phone. He's like, "Oh, sorry, that's mine. I better cut the call."
Yeah. My God.
That's classic. But
No, but
but
I'm just
sometimes
saying,
people attack like the audience, like they have this sense of like it's me, and I get exactly what you mean. Like it's what's wrong in being nice to your audience. Of course, you have the random obnoxious fucker who wants to come confrontational, like look at me, my dick is bigger than yours kind of attitude for a show. But I think predominantly people are nice, right? At least from your experience, because you've seen larger numbers, you've seen across the board. Because I also go for a show when not many people know me when I'm performing, so I have to prove that I'm funny. So it's that much one more step that, okay, who the fuck is this guy? Okay, now he's talking about his eyesight. Is he funny? Is it worth our time? So then I'm already defensive. So I might sometimes tend to get a little like, guys, come on, man, can you put your fucking phone off? It's the least you can do to respect me. But I fortunately haven't done that. But what is your experience? Because these are your fans, of course. They come wanting Kunal. They want interesting. So what is your experience, especially recording in Pune? And where did you record it?
I recorded in Spade Comedy Club. It's like a 55-seater in Pune.
Nice.
So
that's
it is
a nice size.
and it is like a 6x8 kind of stage, which is just risen by like 4 inches or 4 5.
My dream stage.
So it's just that the audience is like. You can see everybody in the audience, and everybody in the audience has a clear vision of you. So it was very good to record there. But coming back to this whole thing about people's cell phone ringing and all, see, what I've realized is that the 50 to 60% of the people who come to say someone like me, it's a good chance that this is the first time they're watching a comedy show. So you have to make the environment so like relaxed, chilled out, easy, so that they can consider this for someone else, like who they've seen, or just oh, I don't know what to do today, I'm on Book My Show, hey, that movie is not working out, let's just go see this comedy show is happening in Pune, some young Pune comedians, let's go check them out. So it's just that they are not buried under etiquettes of which doesn't make them come out like oh, we are half an hour late, but it looks like there are many comedians, we'll catch the last 4. Okay, so I think just easing out the environment kind of helps. Or the audience.
Comedy is supposed to be fun, right? I think sometimes comedians take themselves too seriously.
I have this thing saying, listen, just do whatever the fuck you have to. It's not like there's something serious going on here.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
just
it would be
enjoy
nice
yourself.
if you don't talk over me, because that's one thing that I'd like to do in the show.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think there's
But
this too much of these tech rider. This thing. I'm hearing more and more. Of course, I'm disconnected from what's happening in Bombay or the bigger
yeah,
comedians or the bigger management and the way they work. But I hear a lot of these stories like, oh yeah, you have to kind of laud me and you have to give me this 7-star room, and I'm like, dude. I understand comfort, I understand safety, I understand a little bit of luxury. It's nice to go in a car which doesn't sort of explode on you. But where does that line become this fancy, like treat me like I'm a celebrity,
see, I feel that you can't lose abilities as you grow up. So I feel that I was 20, I was figuring out my TBL while I was at a job.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden I'm in Delhi and somebody's paying 8,000 rupees for an Innova because is going to come pick me up from the airport and the driver is going to be on my beck and call, where I exactly know what I have to do throughout the day, so I can just
Yeah.
Uber it.
Yeah.
I just find all these things kind of cutting life experiences. I'd love to go in like normally, like and take an Uber from Delhi to Gurgaon, do my show, then chat with a few comedians, and then come back to whatever hotel there is. And I feel in terms of the more comfortable you want to be is sometimes maybe it's not the comedian, it's their managements or whatever. I think it's their way of telling you that this is what having comedy costs. So please be prepared to. Maybe it's a business thing, but I personally don't like it. I feel that I should be able to. Yeah, I mean, I've traveled from Malaysia to New Zealand, so that was like a 18-hour flight with a stopover. So I at that point I was like, I don't think I'd be able to do economy.
Yeah, of course.
And because I'm like 6 feet 2 inches, and I may not look it, but I'm 6 feet 2 inches for 18 hours. I won't be able to do.
Dude, and this is what I'm talking about, right? Like I am absolutely on board with the fact that if you are used to a certain thing, then you live that certain thing. But don't suddenly be like, you know what, I'm going to come to the airport in an auto, but then because the client is paying, ask for like a fucking Ferrari, right? It's just, I mean, it doesn't make sense if you're just doing it because A, it's on someone else's bill, or B, because you have this certain image. Like you're right, if it's needed, dude, I need someone to pick me up. I need someone to escort me. I never used to ask because I thought, oh God, what will they think of if I mention I'm a blind comedian? Will the client cut my call, cut the show, saying we don't want a person with a disability performing? But now I'm just like, you know what, man? Do you want me to come there in one piece? Because because there should be shows where I would land up, especially in these tech parks, and from the gate to the actual venue is a good 800 meter 1 kilometer walk. You have to go through all these, and I'm like, I never asked for assistance. I'm like, this is stupid, because there are things on the way. I could get I could walk into like a fucking barricade. I could fall off a staircase.
It's a clear safety issue.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I think people should appreciate when they're doing their own thing, right? If you need this, you need it, but you shouldn't like tiptoe around that and the other end going, you know what, this is my ego at play. But
when it came to a point, we used to tell people that if you are going to keep the bar open on a corporate show, nobody is going to listen to comedy.
Yeah.
So if you can shut the bar and give a call out for the last 10
you know
minutes,
us, and you and I are the first people to go like, fucking have a drink. It's the best time to enjoy comedy.
have a drink.
But don't. Yeah, I think that was a tough one to understand. Like they're like, no, but people want to enjoy. Like, yeah, let them get a drink. Let them get buzzed. Close it for 30 minutes. That's all I'm here for.
But this whole system of like that Gurgaon Manhattan club.
Yeah.
It worked beautifully, and I remember they used to do it on a Thursday.
Experience that was, dude.
Yeah.
Man.
They used to do it on a Thursday night, and there used to be 250 people, 300 people.
Yeah.
Minimum they must be buying alcohol and this and that worth maybe at least 5 to 6 lakhs, and they are organizing a comedy show with me, you, and maybe someone else like Rajneesh Kapoor, where we are getting paid 10 grand each with TBL of say maybe 10 grand each.
Yeah.
So it was such a profitable model, right?
And it was a fun, easygoing model because
we were having a good time.
Number one, there was no rules they would have the same Comedy Store rules, but they were like, you know what, drink, tank up, you'll have a break again so you can tank up again, and people were thoroughly enjoying themselves. It was like a party, dude.
Totally. And that was so good. Like, that was so much fun. And now it has become like, okay, you are artist, you book this sort of place for free, of course, they get nothing. There's the show, because it's a comedy special, there is no break. Now put 7:30 on the thing. 7:30 to 8 they will have. When you finish your show, you'll announce, guys, the bar is open, so if you guys want to get a drink, then nobody will fucking get a drink. 2 people will be there getting a drink. Rest everybody is fucked off. So that's
after the show, right?
After the show. So that's
the beauty. This place in Bangalore called Bangalore International Center. They've actually they're a theater. They're a proper auditorium, and they've actually got a liquor license now, dude. And they give out their auditorium with a bar facility.
Yeah, dude, that's every auditorium abroad, even a school auditorium.
When I saw Eddie Izzard in the Beacon Theatre, one of those massive ones in New York, I was just like, wait a second, I'm sitting in the front row. I can carry my beer in, and I can watch him while I'm drinking. This is like watching him, watching his DVD and enjoying it, but he's in person. How cool is that concept, dude?
Yeah, it is very cool. But you know what happens is that sort of a thing needs a etiquette to enjoy it. Like,
I think that's where the line.
That's where it is. Like, I'm all for people having fun, but it is just that if comedy in India, live comedy has existed for 12, 13 years. So we'll take some time to understand what is the line of service and the show.
I mean, we've had airlines for how many years in India now, and we still don't serve.
That's true. We've had airlines. On airline, I'll tell you something very beautiful. I don't own a credit card because I never owned a credit card, and I don't know why. This is something my father told me. He said, some things just stay with you. So my father, once when I was 15, 16, 17, he told me that this whole credit card thing is going to take America to the dogs. And just out of context, he was reading something in the newspaper, and he said this whole credit card life is going to be. And that kind of stuck with me, and I never got a credit card. And my father, I really love him for some things he just drops in. I never got a credit card. Once I'm in Indigo, I'm from Kolkata, I'm coming to Mumbai. And usually I don't want their sandwich, but this time I'm actually starving. So I tell the lady, here's my card, can you give me a sandwich? She says, oh sir, we do not accept debit cards.
So your real money means shit.
So I said, I'm not getting the logic of this. She said, we don't accept credit cards. She was not trying. So I had a 2.5-hour flight.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like trying to inquire further and further. Why no debit card? I'm not angry. Don't give me the sandwich. No problem. A fan bought me the sandwich. Thank you to that guy. Lovely. He was like, you can pay me when you. I was like, yes sir. Thank you. So I kind of inquired further. What is this whole thing? So what happens is people in the air, there is no network. So they are using their debit cards which they have from 4-5 years ago. That bank is only non-existent. That account is non-existent.
Oh my god, are you serious?
They are buying shit left, right, center. Give me one more sandwich for home. They are buying things worth 3,000-4,000 rupees and using the debit card.
Why the fuck would you first of all fly? I mean, think about the scam, right? You bought a ticket to go cheat in air.
No, the cheating has happened midway. You have to go from A to B.
So it's not like they have to go to cheat. They're going anyway.
No, they're going.
So, okay. Because that would be another kind of good con, right? Like
cheating is midway. And then I realized, my god, actually credit card, there's some liability. Someone has to pay it at some point. Correct. Debit card, what is the liability? If there's no money in the account, there's no liability. So Indigo doesn't take debit cards.
No, debit cards are also scary at the same time. I think we had gone for my dad's 70th birthday or something. We'd gone to like this place called Seminyak in Bali. And I withdrew some cash with my bank card, ATM card. And fuck man, got a call immediately from HDFC because some person from the Dominican Republic tried using that card then. I was like, how quick are these guys, So you're right, in one way they could play a false card and not charge and the money just goes and the airline loses. But the other flip side to a debit card is all your savings or whatever you have in that account is also at risk of being...
Yeah, but if you're smart, you can figure out, okay, this is my debit card. I can't spend more than 1,20,000.
You set limits, Yeah,
and then you are like, if I lose this 1,20,000, it's still not worth me having a credit card and, managing that sort of a thing where you buy when you don't have money. So... No, the same thing happened to a person next to me, and I ended up asking that lady, like, if he doesn't have cash, I'm happy to buy him a sandwich. And that guy's like, no, it's fine. And then he just looked at me eating my sandwich for the rest of the flight. I felt so fucking bad. Like, eat something, dude. But this is the thing, man. Just imagine that you have to be so unique. Like, no part of the world a debit card would be rejected. No part of the world.
It's the same concept, right? We the rest of the world doesn't allow water through security. We allow water, but we don't allow lighters.
You mind if I smoke a cigarette? No, that's
Not
fine.
at all, bro. This is something I wish I could do. I quit.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh, how's the going? You quit drinking? Quit drinking or
no,
not
no,
quit drinking?
dude, I can't quit drinking. Are you crazy? Can't do everything, dude. No, I quit smoking.
Good, that's good.
It'll be a year in April.
I'm trying to quit now.
Dude, trust me. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you why I quit. I quit the day I got COVID in April. Mainly because it got into a point going, fuck, okay, might as well. It's a good time. I don't want any
Yeah.
other complications and suddenly be anxious about, oh, is my oxygen level dropping, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. But mainly because every cigarette should give you some joy, and that's why I started smoking, because that feeling, that nicotine rush. But here, towards the last sort of few months before quitting, every cigarette was making me more anxious. It was fucking up my stomach. I was getting acidity. I was getting cramps, and I was getting more and more like panic attacks. And I was like, no, this is not. I don't care about what will happen in 20 years to my lungs, but I care about what's today I'm feeling, right? And not having that morning cigarette, not having that afternoon cigarette is making me have a better day. So I'm like, why wouldn't I enjoy that feeling?
Like one thing that I totally believe in, that Osho said that if you every bad habit you quit, you have a certain sort of respectability for yourself.
You have, I think, a sense of belief also that you have control over your life.
Yeah.
But I think another thing is, dude, smoke, do whatever, man. I would love to be a part of it, but enjoy it. I see people exercising and they're not happy with themselves. Like they're angry exercising, they're angry drinking, and the moment it becomes that coping mechanism, I think it's unhealthy. But I know people who drink and enjoy it and enjoy life, and they're absolutely healthy, dude. I'm not here to endorse alcohol or drugs, but anything, if you're doing it in the right mindset, I don't see it being bad. Like, I think you'll figure it out and you're smart enough,
But our industry is based in such a way that if you are like I enjoy my drink. I have never hidden that from anybody.
Yeah.
Like after a show, I will go for a drink. That's not a problem. But then you have these murmur campaigns about you that this guy is drinking is the problem. Drinking is why he's not. Drinking
Kamra, if anyone should talk about that, I'm sure people talk about me behind my back about my drinking. I've heard stories have come back to bite me in the ass. Not like I care about being bitten in the ass, but it's kind of like this. Oh, this blind guy drinks a lot. Like, okay, dude, you know what? I know now what my relationship with alcohol is. So fuck everyone else.
100%.
I think that's the kind of, as you said, a smear campaign. But if you don't want to be smeared, I mean, if you know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it, then you're not going to let it smear you, right?
Not at all. And if I am half functional with being, if you call me an alcoholic, and if I'm still generating things 10 times better than you, then you should either start drinking or introspect.
I think that's what upset people, that this guy's impaired and he's doubly impaired and he's kicking ass.
And he's funny.
But the only problem with sometimes getting too hammered on stage is you don't remember the next day. Like, I remember one show not going. Apparently the next day everyone called, like these other comedians are like, dude, you went out of line, you crossed the line. I'm like, dude, 1 second. And this girl called and said, I demand a public apology, all that kind of shit. And I remember, and some people at the show going, dude, it was of course risque, but she was giving back in a crowd work interaction thing, right? She was giving back as good as she got. And I was like, that's what I like in a thing, right? Sometimes the crowd work interaction is when it might go a little too far. That's comedy, right?
I remember a foreigner. I asked him. I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "America." I said, "What got you here?" He said, "An aeroplane."
Wow. Okay.
I didn't have a comeback. I laughed with him. I said, "You're a funny old man," and we had a good time. And also this. See, I kind of, because the stakes are a little high and these murmur campaigns are like all over. So I made a policy that I won't drink before the show. It's not like I can't handle it. It's just that I don't want the show can go good, bad, whatever the fuck, but I don't want some client to come back to my manager and say that he was not sober, that's why the show went bad.
Yeah, so, corporates, I am very careful because nowadays...
Yeah, even live shows, my stakes are high. Sometimes
you have more at risk, but the stakes are a little bit more because the problem with alcohol, I feel sometimes, is that you're not on point. And that could be a problem if things don't go according to
even Sandeep, if we are on point, I'm little old fashioned here because see, I took a drink on stage after 7 years of doing stand up,
Yeah.
And every city or town I go to, there is somebody in the younger comedians, for some godforsaken reason, idealizing or trying to get something from me. And the easier things to take are bad habits, bad
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
patterns.
No, drink
So
on stage, that's a very tricky one because
I don't want to,
yeah.
or even drinking before the show. Even if the audience wouldn't know, the comedians around me would know, and they would pick up that habit, and maybe they would not be able to handle themselves like, we're fucking.
Yeah.
I'm 33. You're almost touching 40 now. We have the sense of understanding.
No, I know.
what the fuck
I've
is-
never given a fuck about whether I'm a bad influence, because I really think that if you need to take it up as a habit and you can't figure it out, then I'm there to help you. But I never have looked at myself as an influence on others. But I'm glad that you are doing that, because my main thing is logistical, dude. Like when I've so many times experimented, like maybe 5-6 times taken a glass on stage, I end up holding it. And I'm like, dude, this is again another thing which impedes my movement, right? I can't jump if I want to, because I spilled the drink. The couple of times I've dropped the glass, and I'm like, again, this is another thing. So sometimes I just don't, because
Logistical
Jim
issue.
Jeffries looks really cool drinking another beer after another beer, but I'm not Jim Jeffries. I don't have the capacity,
Doug
and I don't
Stanhope
have
has-
and I don't have the
Stanhope-
ability to pick up the glass. I'm going to drop it.
Doug Stanhope has not done a show sober from 2003. Me and actually
Is that an
spoke to-
act? You guys met him in Bangkok, right? Or was it you?
No. I didn't meet him in Bangkok actually. I think Upmanyu and somebody, Sumit Anand and one more person met him in Bangkok.
Right.
And partied with Doug Stanhope. I met him. We did a Zoom call with me, Doug Stanhope, and a few other comedians. Just a drinking Zoom call. And he
How
was
cool is that?
telling-
That guy
it was a lot of
seems
fun.
like he doesn't give a fuck about the industry, dude.
Yeah, he was telling us so much about his ways of working, and it was just how he writes a joke, to how when a joke is done, to when it's stale, and to be very honest, he is got it together. Like he knows his punchline, and I'm a big nerd of Doug Stanhope, so I have seen him deliver the same joke into separate shows, and the timing is impeccably the same.
Right.
One thing he told me, which kind of I want to share, I wish I called you earlier and shared, is that every comedian who is going on stage to do their special or do a show, they should be able to see a wall clock, or they should have some sense of time, maybe on your hand watch or something on your wrist. They should have some sense of time, because there is just only this much laughs there. People who do 2.5 shows and all, 2.5 hours with their audience and all, they're just wasting their time. Just have to condense your best.
My
bits
biggest
into-
fear on that point was, especially with this last one, 2020, when I recorded,
Right.
because I'd only done it twice before recording it. I was worried that I would get through 80% of what I had planned, and the next thing is only 30 minutes done. And that was my biggest thing. So my timing was off. So that's why I got this. I don't know if you can see this watch.
Yeah, I can.
It's all through touch.
Yeah.
So I've got something. This because you freak out, man. Like you're not enjoying the material. You're worried more about, am I filling up the 1 hour, which is not a way to do a show.
Yeah. Or am I going over the hour so much that the audience, I'm losing some part of the audience. So when I was recording, I did that. I fixed a watch which only I could see. And
nice.
While I was recording, I did 12 shows, and the last 6 I was recording, Saturday and Sunday. And I'm telling you, that helped me so much, because by the last show, I didn't have, when I watched the clock, it was not to move to a bit. It was to confirm that, I have done the right thing and I've moved to the bit.
You're kind of on this roadmap of markers, right?
Yes. And it is like you are in state of flow, but you are in check. So that really helped me.
You seem like you have more method to what you're doing now, because I've known you doing what you've done, and I want to ask you a couple of things, because you are this personality who who's got both sides of the camp, like people who really adore you for what you say, and also kind of find your courage in speaking out against the establishment quite empowering and quite remarkable. At the same time, that comes with the flip side of the coin, right, where people find you whatever and inflammatory, they find you whatever the word is being thrown at you. I don't know, but I think I don't have a question per se, but do you find, like, as you've gotten a bigger as a performing artist, as a name, as more people book you, more people come for your show, have you developed more sort of skills or more things as a responsibility side from the responsibility side of things, or do you just go again like balls to the walls. I'm doing it because I want to do it. My content, whatever consequence it have, be damned. I'm just Kunal Kamra, and I'm saying what the fuck I want. So do you say things? Do you think it through?
100%. See,
Right.
I'll tell you one thing, that the courageous thing I did was not what people think is courageous. That's just if you are existing, and if you are noticing, and if you are kind of even slightly empathetic about it, you are going to talk about a lynching. There's no doubt about it. If you have some social capital, you will talk about lynching, or you will talk about something that is really going off in the gender justice movement, or any of these things that are happening in our society. That's not courageous at all. I think the courageous thing that I did was decided that I have to quit a cushion job and do this full time. That's the negotiation with courage. I made that negotiation. After all that has happened, then it's just about accepting. And when you talk about developing skills and all, once you are doing this full time, you can't do it. I mean, I can, but you can't. Like, it's just that sort of, there is a sort of morality involved here where you can't take the same laugh again and again and again. You are doing a disservice to them if you are exactly making them hear what they have come to hear. So that way...
No, so what I mean by that is like, okay, are you a more disciplined person now since you become more popular and famous? Or do you just, I mean, what I mean by that is, see, of course, I think if you love being a performer, you will come for every show. But you know what tends to happen is sometimes is that you made it. Of course, you've done 150, 200 shows, and now you're like, you know what, dude, I'll bunk a couple. Fuck it, what'll happen? They'll come back. Or I'm not going to give this show my 100% because, you know what, fuck it, I've got 1 million followers on Twitter. Do you ever feel that, or the opposite, you feel like, every show I have to deliver because they have come?
No, I actually, see, the reason of me not, and I have done this maybe 3-4 times in my life, where I have had a show and I've said, I cannot perform today. And that has been because I have been sure that the audience will have a bad show. Might as well refund them the money. Sometimes I've gone to a new town and I have kind of seen that, okay, my comedy is not ready for this town. Maybe they know me, but they don't know stand-up comedy at all. So let's just fill the time, get this done, and when they get home, they get a message from Book My Show that they've got a refund.
So you do the show and refund it?
Yes.
Okay.
These are things but that is not because of my discipline. That's because of my diligence towards just doing this full time. Yeah, I mean, any job that you accept, and you know, if you talk about religion and if you talk about anything that gives you peace, comedy is that for me. So if this is giving me so much peace, I have to give it something back. Whether you call it discipline,
I suppose,
morality, respect, whatever you call the virtue, but I have to give something back. Otherwise, I'm being unfair.
No, I think this is important to hear because people think, you know, and this is something that, you know, as you mentioned, when, you know, we were early days, we would do these things, right? It was, you respect the trade craft, you respect the stage. In the sense, you don't just go fling the mic because you're angry, or you don't go, I mean, there are certain, I wouldn't say rules, but rules of engagement, but I would say there are certain things that you appreciate because without that you wouldn't be on that stage performing, right? So you have to give it, whether it's, you know, not passing out on stage hammered out of your mind, or you know, sometimes you do cross the line, and then this, because it's the nature of the beast, is that it does get your ego. Sometimes you're having such a good time yet you feel invincible and you make mistakes, but it quickly corrects you, quickly checks you. And I think that's what stand up or any art form, right? If you do even go for a play which you've rehearsed, or you don't rehearse and you go, it's going to say, hey, nobody, you can't do this, you know.
Correct.
But I suppose I wanted to know whether it gets more demanding as you get more popular. That's what I wanted to get, because I mean, I've done it for 11 years, 12 years, but I've never had that, the demands that you might have had on your career, right? Where you're constantly phones off the hook, you have these many shows, this many countries. So I just want to understand, and think even for people who are new to this, or people who are aspiring to be famous comedians, that it does come with a certain number of responsibilities or certain commitment which you can't deny, you know?
Yeah. See, for my example, like my one thing is that I have followed through and which has helped me. I think that if you are doing comedy full time, it would be amazing if most of the money you make is from comedy.
Yeah.
So that you keep doing comedy.
Yeah.
And I just feel that whatever you are not doing today, but if you are pursuing comedy and if you are learning your craft and if you are executing yourself in that, it will come back to you in a better form. So if you can't do this year's college fest, fine. Next year they'll come back to you with a 20% bump up. Just keep focusing on that. Don't worry about what is not happening. Whatever is happening, do it with full diligence. Whether it is just
Otherwise,
for the hour,
don't do
15
it. Yeah.
minutes.
Would you, on the other flip side, on the contrary, say just for the sake of holding on to something? I hear some comedians like, dude, I haven't been on stage since the lockdown. I have to get on any stage, and they do these Zoom things. Do you feel like that sense of desperation holding on, that I'll lose my sense of comedic timing or this thing? Do you feel that's also another extreme?
See, they are. They. I think firstly, when you choose the arts field for for commercial purpose,
Yeah.
it is very important for you to have a philosophy on money in general.
Yeah.
Like my philosophy is, whatever money comes to you, with you not working towards that money, it has to change something morally about you. That's the job of capitalism.
Yeah.
In the job of capitalism is haven't we seen everyone who inherits some lots of land, one alcoholic in the family selling that land off? So the job of the capitalist is to morally change who you are, make
Yeah.
you comfortable, make you not play to your full potential. So that is why
And
when
put that
you
money back into their system, which they've
Yes,
created. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
And at the same point, you have to then figure out, okay, fine, like this comedian who's not got on stage for 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, is it a thing that he's thinking that he's losing his skill? No, he's not. He can just go to, like, if I have not got on stage for a very long time, I'll go to a bar alone, order for a lime soda, meet a person, and tell him all my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll call someone, I'll tell them all my thoughts. It's not like if you are willing to change the performance and go virtual and cater to people who are on Zoom eating their food while their camera is off, what is the problem in going to 12 people having a birthday party in Khar Social and telling them that, hey, I'm a stand-up comedian, can I tell a few jokes? I don't know. That is like Eddie Izzard used to go parks to park just doing magic and doing stand-up. So you are not doing that. So you are not desperate really. You just are insecure.
Yeah. No, I think if you're
Desperation and insecurity is something else.
I think desperation is to get that laughter from
Just to
people
know
listening
that you exist. You are on the same plane as everybody.
Yeah.
You're not very
I think
different.
insecurity is that, I think when you're really not sure about the fact that you have the talent, and you need to Yeah.
That is insecurity. And also it is that are you telling, like, tell me one thing. I mean, if you say, for example, there is a rich person, okay, and for 10 years they have not climbed stairs
Yeah.
or not ridden a cycle,
Yeah.
they won't forget that.
Yeah.
You can't forget comic timing. You've done it enough. If you've done it for 10 years, how will you forget doing comedy?
And this is where I jump in with people. I never have issues, man. I had issues, and I used to get like all worked up, going, fucking hey, how can this happen? This comic stunt, this kind of thing. And I'm like, you know what, dude? And this is where the pandemic fucking put things in perspective, saved my mental health, I would say, because I'm like, you know what, dude? Just unlearn everything about yourself and start taking up things that you want to do because you enjoy it. Not that someone else will say he's funny, or someone else will say he can do this as a visually impaired. Do it because you want to do it. And because it becomes so much clutter, 19% of your conversation as a comedian, if it's about why you aren't getting shows, why you aren't selling out, why you aren't on Netflix, that's not the reason to do stand-up. That's not why I got into it. I got into it to make people laugh and have a good time doing it, as opposed to, because I feel when this happens, when the conversation is about the peripheral issues, then it opens up avenues for others to exploit your peace of mind, right? They make you feel good about something by putting down others, or make you feel shit by bringing up others, and it's just not worth it, dude. And
See, you are absolutely right, Sandeep. But I would say all these things did not exist when we started. So how is something that did not exist when I started this can affect my peace of mind of not getting this opportunity? I think yes, more comedy specials of Indian comedians should exist on Amazon, Netflix, even HBO should come nearby. A Comic Stan should raise their budget by 5 crores, 10 crores. Till the time that does not exist, how will I and you separate ourselves from it?
Yeah.
So when somebody asked me the other day, some young comedian, he said there was a time where you used to go online and you used to diss a comedian who was senior than you without giving a fuck. Why don't you do that anymore? I said, because I was naive, I had to do that on Twitter. Now I do it with my hour. What I do in my comedy, I don't name anybody, but it is clearly a diss of someone not pursuing comedy with that religiousness. I don't have to be direct with my diss.
The problem I have, right? It's that and I mean, this is not. I'm not here to protect.
No,
any
please,
comedian.
please go for it.
I'm saying I'm not protecting any comedian's interest, but I'm saying when you hardly when you're driving force, right? You just mentioned this commitment you give to your comedy because you think that because it's giving back, you have to give so much, right? I think it's a fair trade. But when the message that people starting out today, and I'm not here to guide them, I'm saying when you're starting out and their focus is seeing a guy win Comic-Con, get X amount of money, get X amount of accolade, get X amount of stage time because of this thing, I feel that's a wrong motivator because, dude, you're not writing to last and you're not writing to get better, but you're writing for those 5 minutes or how many ever minutes, and that content is completely gone. You can't use it, and next thing you're sitting, maybe if you're that good and you've won or come to the final 5, you've sat on this content and now it's like suddenly you're twiddling your thumbs going, fuck, how do I write more? Right?
No, but I see, if there is going to be something like capitalist, then there is something going to be like crony capitalist.
What capitalist?
Crony capitalist.
Right.
So if there's something which is comedian, there's going to be a crony comedian. Who will start and he'll like, or she will like wanting to kind of get this sort of thing and ask the wrong questions and try and bump up your rate and be more present in Amazon or Netflix and try and gather the money and then, work out of like connections that you have made and make sure you get play. See, that's a different hustle.
Yeah. And exactly. I mean,
and I think
it's important to identify. I don't think there's a problem with either, but I'm glad you're identifying the distinction.
There is a crony comedian, there is a comedian. Comedian is focusing just on joke writing and comedy.
But can you last as a comedian in this environment?
Cronies don't last. Tatas will last 150 years. They are capitalists. They go to government because they have no choice. But cronies who go to government because they have access and then they devise a business around it, that's not going to last. With the next government, that business is going to collapse. So if you have to last further, you have to avoid this croniness of, I'm going to go there one day, it's going to pay me 10 lakhs, that's going to cover my 4 months. Yeah,
but like piggybacking off.
Yes, but that 4 months, it's going to cover, but you don't understand it is going to change a fabric in you. It's going to make you less hardworking. You are spending your time at the wrong places with the wrong people where you are not understanding anything.
Yeah.
It's going to terribly change your art form. And you
become quite wise, no? You become a wise guy.
And we are fooling ourselves if there is some comedian who tells you, I don't want to be the most respected comedian in the country or the most loved comedian in the country or the funniest comedian in the country. Everybody has these sort of barriers that they want to go to.
Yeah.
Now, they make compromises that's why I said philosophy of money is most important.
And that's what I find sad, because I can't sit here and tell people that, it's not money, pursue your passion. And maybe when, I started out, I said, you have to take this up full time. Don't treat this as a hobby and now people are like, you said in 2012, do it full time and now I have no money. I'm like, dude, the times have changed. At that time there were 10 comedians. So you could afford and you could manage on 20,000 a month. That's what a full-time comedian would get. But now you're looking at the likes of guys getting a whatever, for 50 lakh deal going, I want that kind of money. So the entire equation has changed. So obviously, if you don't have food on the table, why the fuck would you listen to me?
I have utmost love and respect for you, and that's why yesterday when you messaged me, I was so happy that finally I'll get to talk to you at a length about life in general, because you have been a very good influence. And I'll tell you in one way, one kind of thing kind of stuck with me, which you told me, and you told me when both of us were, I think we were at Pune High Spirits and I was opening and it was your show, and it was 2015 and 16, and you were asking me about my job and all, and I was telling you have a great voice, why don't you do voiceover for ads and all, if you were based out of Mumbai you'd be making a killing and all. And then you told me this one thing, oh shit, so you are in a position to put me in a voiceover of an ad, and I said yes, I work as a producer, I have a very respectable job. He said, that's pretty fucked up, man, you're not a bad comedian. You said that. You're not a bad comedian. And I said, oh, thanks.
In what context would I have said that?
Yeah, because I had just opened for you. So the context follows. He said that, my God, you have a very cushy job and you do this as your hobby and you're able to manage both. There will be probably a comedian who wants to do this full time, and you will take his spot. You will take the 7,000 rupees you get also, and you will securely go for your job the next day. Very cushioned environment. And that I was like, yeah, man, I'm not, I started realizing that I can be, but I'm not competing on the fair ground. I have lead because I'm not doing this for money. And the more lead I have, and you were absolutely right when you said that, because then I had a chat after that with Raj Sharma also, who's very inspiring, and he said something similar also, that if you think you are good, I think you are good, what is making you stop from doing it full time? And that is good motivation.
No, because dude, that's sort of I'm not coming across as, I hope I'm not interrupting, but I really feel I don't know when what motivated me to say that, but I think that was when, because you had been doing it for a while and you had those jokes, the joke which I still till date find hilarious, because I've heard the barrage of blind jokes thrown at me and I think one is worse than the other, but I really liked, I'm not saying that was a blind joke you did keeping me in mind, but it was a great observation about how people would go and offer to help blind people cross the road without even asking them if they needed to cross the street, right? I love that bit.
Because he was going in direction of one bus stop and now he's in the opposite direction taking another bus.
Exactly. That was a really, really nice bit, because it was not about, because I am visually impaired, it needed my stamp. It was just really funny because that sort of reflected people going, you know what, I've done a noble thing. I helped a blind man cross the road today. And someone going, did he need to be helped? Did he need to cross the road, right? I found that hilarious. But you were good in the sense you were getting laughs, but you would do that other bit. I forget. I don't do all your bits, but like this bit which people would cringe, right? Where you pull your pubes off, and act out. But then there was this moment suddenly where we weren't in touch, and maybe this 2015, I got married that year. Then I didn't gig as much, and the next thing you'd put out these videos of the demonetization.
No, that was 2017. We had this chat in 15, 16, somewhere around that.
Yeah, so no, that's what I'm saying. So then you suddenly exploded with those online clips with the waiting at the ATM, the Siachen thing. So I want to ask you. So that's, I think, maybe when you quit your job, or maybe you started becoming more focused on this, but that change and you going more political and more social awareness in your content, was that a conscious decision? Like, have you always been motivated by social justice or motivated by social change and politics, or did you calculate, or was that your philosophy saying, I need to do this because number one, no one's doing it in a stand-up realm and it's going to get me the eyeballs that I want? Or is it something that was fundamental to you as a person that needs to be said?
So it was like 2016 for a year. I'd had a very tough year. I had a relationship which I thought was culminating into being the fixture of my life. That kind of breaking. Then my relationship with my office, where I had worked around almost 10, 11 years. Me feeling
this is advertising, right?
Advertising. I was in a production company called Cocois Films. That was kind of, that was feeling like, I don't want this, maybe I don't want that. That year was very tough on me. And simultaneously, I just asked myself, then what are you doing? What are you getting to the table?
Yeah.
What are you going to get to the table? And I had that tough call that, okay, fine, I am going to get to the table what I feel, okay? And if I feel this, maybe it's unpopular truth, but okay, fine, I feel this. And then I started educating myself also, because I didn't want to crony it. Like, I mean, there are 1,000 comedians who can do a Modi joke. But a Modi joke that will tell you something which is popular sentiment, but people are not able to form it. And so I thought that was the responsibility. And if you ask me right now, currently the new special that I have, it's called Witness, and there's not even a single political joke in it.
No, and that's what I was confused about, right? Because I, at one point you mentioned yourself that you went through this phase where you would pick on other comedians who were more popular, and you would kind of like, niggle and kind of try to wheedle them to get a response. And and you would sit in the green room, and I was just like, is this even what you want to do? Because it's almost like you were like throwing a tantrum. You know, like you would get drunk, and many times I would be partaking in the drunkenness, but it would be more like bitching sessions. And I'm like, it's fun sometimes, when good friends get together just to have a good old fashioned bitching session. But I felt it was getting too much, right? And that's what happened towards the end of, like, for me, 2019. It was just like, dude, why the fuck are you doing this as opposed to performing on stage? You're going, getting smashed, not enjoying the show, but coming off and then feeding to all the other people around you, saying this shit about other people or about you. Why do you need this? This is noise.
This is noise.
And I felt you had a lot of that. And I'm not sitting here as your counselor, as like a big brother saying, why did you do that? But no, then then your content came out in this place, right, where it was to do with what the government is fucking up with, or with how people are being treated in an unfair way. People are being subjugated. People's voices are being cut off. And I was like, is this an act, or this guy really feels? Because if it was an act, you really sold the act. But but is this something Kunal really wants to do? Because that's when a lot of the other stuff stopped, where you stopped trolling other comedians. You really just sort of drilled down and started focusing on what you wanted to say. But did you sense that from then you became this icon for a lot of people who wanted to hear about stuff that the government is doing wrong, right? Whether it was Modi or whether it is his inner circle.
See, I just felt that, okay, when I was trolling a comedian, or when I was kind of, bitching a comedian, I mean, like, what the fuck, that guy doesn't deserve. I just realized...
there are some hilarious ones, I remember that.
Most comedians should be on Amazon if they're shopping.
Yeah. I think, the other hilarious bit is, what is... I can't stop laughing. It's cute. It's not even insulting. You're like, man, when Vedas goes on stage and takes his hat off, Amog Randive comes out. I found that very cute. Like...
Yeah, I mean, see, but the thing is that when and then I had my experiences. I had my fair experiences with mushroom and LSD and all. And when I was going through that patch, I realized, see, what is the problem? There's a hierarchical system. Someone runs the hierarchical system. Whatever exists in the world will exist in a microcosm in your life.
Yeah.
So you can't, this hierarchy will exist. You forget this hierarchy. And I'm telling you, if you're challenging this hierarchy, you will accumulate power and you will be hierarchical then.
Correct. It creates your own sense of hierarchy.
Yes. Then you become the ISI mark of what comedy is. That is bullshit. You do your work. You pursuing your art form with diligence is a diss. And actually, there is nobody to be dissed. There is just you, your craft, the audience that has come out for you today. And that is all the job that you have to do. Do you like writing jokes? Do you like telling new stories? That's it. Forget what others are doing.
No, that's amazing that it gave you that sense of focus, because I
was losing track. I mean, you can totally say that I was losing track and I was going in a direction which was...
No, I mean, I wasn't in touch with you, because I was going through my own thing with my comedy, going, do you want to be that guy? I was doing blowjob jokes, relationship jokes, and I was like... and as you said, it was this manic energy where I was just like, I don't have time to think, because I was using alcohol and comedy as an escape, not as a focus, which is a big problem, because if you're using it to get away from the real problem, which I didn't see for years, and I mean, no pun intended, but that wasn't my eyesight wasn't my real blindness. The blindness was not being able to see what I was becoming. And then this lockdown, as I said, was an eye-opener for me, dude. Like, I'm using all eye puns, but it really was going, what the fuck are you doing, right? You're not focusing on stand-up because you enjoy it, but you're using it as a chance to go out and party, which sends you down another spiral. The behavior starts taking a toll, then your mental health starts taking a toll, and that's what happened 2017 to 21. So I didn't have time or the bandwidth in my head to sort of reach out to anyone to help or ask anyone if they needed me,
Totally, I get it. See, I'll tell you what changed for me was actually just realizing that I'm at that age where I can't be a shit show. My father's around 66, my mother touched 60. They're old, they need me. My sister has 2 kids for some fucked up reason, because I'm the only one in my family who's apparently, by their definition of success, is successful. They might look up to me. So
you're only 33, by the way, now?
I'm going to be 34 in October.
Crazy, dude. Okay, cool.
So I just thought that for some fucked up reason, I have responsibility. Whether it is responsibility I accept or don't accept. There are going to be kids in my family tree. There will be a few people around who's going to look up to me, and I can't be
Yeah.
this guy. I can't be a bad example.
Yeah.
So I don't have any need to be a good example, but I know deep down if I just go a little more deeper and just ask a few questions and just answer them honestly, I'll be a better human being.
No, that's why I said amazing. It's for that, because I've been 33 and I didn't give a fuck about responsibility. I was in fact like, what the hell, right? Like, I hate the world. Like, look at me, I can't see you. Whatever, some stupid fucking tantrum I was throwing. But no, and this goes to show it can happen at any age, right? It happened to me at 38.
Dude,
It happened to you at 33.
It is totally totally the surroundings and what we are enabled to soak in. The same, like now when we get the clarity.
No, and I
of
think and you have to
something-
be ready to do it for yourself, not other people telling you. I think
it is a pendulum. Till you don't swing to the extreme negative left, you will never come to the center.
yeah.
It is.
And this is what gets me when people are like, "Oh, dude, it's just life has been hard." I'm like, I'm not saying your experience hasn't been easy. It's not been hard, but this is what you're talking about is that moment that sends you to the sort of precipice, right? It's almost like shit. One more step forward, and there's no and there's no coming back. Like, I'm not. It could be the examples could be whatever, right? It could be like with the way you look at your life, or the way your habits, or with what you've done with people, and the way you abuse relationships. But it's that moment which literally you can pull back from, or sometimes sadly people can't.
I know.
And I'm glad you pulled back, man.
And also, I think in the broader sense, we tend to react further than we tend to respond.
Yeah.
Which is a reaction is mostly based on impulses which are not yours.
Yeah.
Responding is based on who you are. So I remember things changed for me in 2020 around Jan. There was this drunk guy at an airport lounge who just came and he wanted to say hi to me, but he hit me on the back of my head, and that sound was really hard.
Yeah.
So I wasn't hurt or anything, but the sound was really hard.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was someone who liked my work.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I just took 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 10 seconds, and I turned around with a smile.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I know what is responding, and now I know what is reacting. I'm mature.
Reacting would be your ego being bruised, going, "Who the fuck? How dare they
Who
touch
the
me?"
fuck I can get this guy out of the airport and he will not take the flight, he'll go to jail. But that's not who I am.
But dude, okay, no, I know this is something which is a lot of people have spoken about, and maybe it's boring for you now, which is water under the bridge. But what actually happened, because that incident on the flight was something which, if you don't want to talk about it, of course.
Yeah,
just
we
tell
can
me.
totally talk
But
about
what happened exactly? Because it sounded, you sounded like, I don't know the actual video, of course, everyone's watched it and they have their opinions, and of course, but I know you, and when I saw that, I was like, what's going on? Because I always question, because I don't take it at face value. I'm like, either this guy's really hurt or he's really angry, because it's something I don't, from knowing you, from what I do know you, maybe I don't know you at all, but it seemed like that really pushed you to the sort of edge of your control.
It did, because it happened truly at a time in 2019. I was really going through shit. My depression medication was changing every month. Every month I was going through new medication cycle, new doctors, new medication cycles. And then I see this fucking guy and I just lose control. And I am telling you that I went to him 2-3 times before I put the camera on, just to have a conversation and tell him that, listen, you've taken my name on your TV channel, now fucking I'm in front of you, make me a nationalist. And I was abusive, okay? I was borderline abusive. Fuck you, you're a Modi dog, all of that I said 3 times without the camera. When I put the camera out, I kept it civil, because I just wanted to put the video up and tell people that he's a fucking coward. And then I realized, why did I have to do it now in retrospect? Man, I mean, who doesn't know he's a coward? Everybody knows he's a coward.
Yeah.
Like, look at the way he went to jail right now, crying like a fucking softie.
Oh, he did?
Save me. Yeah, he went to jail crying like a softie. Come save me, please, Supreme Court. And I was like, this guy is fucking, he's just a robo. Why did I have to
that's what surprised me, because I was like, why is this guy stooping to his level?
I lost
because
control.
That show of his is, first of all, like, if people call that a news show, they're lying to themselves. It's a fucking soap opera filled with horrible characters.
Dude.
And I was just like, dude, I mean, whatever, dude. But my point is, I was like, what is going on here? Because it was, it was,
it was
just
a lot
like
of
someone. Yeah, it didn't seem like you were doing
There
this.
was a lot of mental imbalance at my end. I was going through a very rough patch in my life.
No, and also felt like you were really hurt by that person you spoke about, right? That boy.
The Rohit Vemula, the Hyderabad University student who was like institutionally murdered. But
Yeah.
more than that, so I'm still proud of myself just for one thing. And just for one thing, I'm proud that I did not cross the line of using my hand or physical violence. So I'm
But
happy
aren't
about
you scared that shit will come back because the person Arnab
Yeah.
Goswami has a bunch of other people who find him amazing as a journalist or his balls or his courage or whatever you want to call it,
It
and they're
did-
like, this man represents. So aren't you scared? Like, I'm not scared, but like this guy coming and whacking you out of like oh my god, it's Kamra. I like the guy hitting you on the head, maybe out of joy. But aren't you scared of people doing the same thing to you, like, and crossing the line there?
See, it's not like they haven't done it, okay? They have done it. I have dealt with it. The thing is that state is protecting this sort of a guy. Like I did what I did. 4 airlines banned me the same day. The rest of the airlines banned me next day. Okay?
Right.
So the state will do its job. And if you are coming from... I know I don't take any money from any political party. I know what I say is not putting a hashtag and serving someone else's interest. I know I have no malice. And I have nothing to lose. So even if they come back, I don't think, like, what will they do? Like,
no, what I don't understand is, and this is something you can explain for people who might not know behind the scenes, right? Because it's very easy to be polarized by what you say or react to what you did on social media, going, oh, fuck Kamra, he has no manners, the guy bloody goes, who are comedians, they fucking cross the line, idiots need to be put in their place, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all. But, I mean, dude, like, see, I'm not a social media influencer. I'm not famous on any of these platforms. And I try to stay away from it because it's not become social media anymore. It's just noise. And it's just a bunch of people yelling, right? But what I don't get is when you're in a situation where you're trying to, and you're not even creating conspiracy, you're stating the obvious, right? Whether it's a lynching or whether it's a group being oppressed. In a country like ours today, like there are many regimes like this in across the world, whether it's Turkey, whether it's in South America, whether it's in and we point in North Korea, like it's pretty bad in some, you know what I mean? But what I don't get, like, see, because I now people are also throwing the word privilege because a lot of Indians have taken the Western concept of political correctness and LGBTQ to another level. And stuff exactly. Like the white male. We don't even have the white male oppressing us, which of course Shashi Tharoor keeps going on about. But what I'm trying to understand is when you have a group of people who are so unwilling to look at themselves and resort to the fact that, we look at our cultural pride. Of course, we have a lot to be proud of, but we also have a lot to fucking learn from. And number one, look within ourselves and say, okay, guys, this is who I am. I have a lot of flaws and a lot of things. Instead of that, just pointing fingers. When we are in a time like that, do you feel like your comedy is no longer comedy, but you're stating the obvious, and then you have people who come for your show who agree, who clap and hoot, and people who disagree, who shit on you and troll you? Because can you be funny about these things in a country like ours at a time like this?
See, firstly, I think as a comedian, like Anubhav Pal taught me this, and I'm sure we all learned from him.
Man, what a guy.
What a guy. A great guy. One of the best influences I've had. He told me this one thing, never negate the premise. So if something is happening to you, don't negate it. Don't run away from it. As a comedian, accept the premise and sometime it will be comedy. So that kind of stuck with me. So I was like, don't negate the premise. What is happening to you is comedy. Like, and that's what I told other guys also. And now I'm not political in my current special. I don't feel the need to be, because there are others who are doing a good job. They feel the same way I used to, and they're doing their job. And that's great. I'm happy.
So did you feel at any point, did you feel boxed in that shit, people are coming because they want Kamra's point of view on the government? Or did you take pride in that kind of that responsibility? Or did you feel, and also now the new show Witness, when you were writing it, did you feel like, if I go away from what I've been talking about, granted there are other people doing it, maybe they're doing it with a fresh perspective, maybe they have more of a burning itch to talk about it. That's when political humor comes out the strongest, right? When you're really passionate about it. Or did you feel like, shit, if I let go of this avatar or this thing that people recognize me as a comedian for, that I lose them?
Yeah. If I would have created it, it would be difficult to let go. I didn't create it. It was created for me. Like, things just kept happening.
So
And
you didn't ask for it. It just
I
kept,
didn't ask for it. I got thrown out by my landlord. I didn't ask for it. I wrote on my personal Facebook account. That became news. It was not
but
for
one second, they threw you out. Why though? I don't
because
understand.
mainly because Umar Khalid, the JNU student, had come and stayed in my house, and a few people from the building had complained, etc. So they just overnight kind of threw me out.
Are you
And then,
serious?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking
So that
strange.
happened. A few things here and there kept happening. Some death threats kept happening. You stay here. This is a photo of your house. That shit kept happening. So things just
Are these
kept.
things real, dude? Like in the sense, I know they're real death threats, but are these people even real about it, or is it just
Maybe the see,
hiding behind the social
yeah.
media sort of veneer or the so-called protection that it gives them, the anonymity gives them?
I think the threats are there,
Hmm.
but the fact that I'm alive and kicking, that means the threats are not real. So now, now I don't give a fuck about what somebody's threatening me about, and
Yeah, no,
unless
I
it's
get scared about mob mentality because that
no,
takes away humanity and just makes it into this group that's ready to forgive or
yeah.
forget all their sort of humanity and
I
just go
just
after. Yeah.
saw this wonderful film which kind of this beautiful idea is explored very well, Jallikattu, where the whole village just becomes a mob,
Yeah, I've heard of
uncontrollable.
it. Which language is that? Malayalam?
No, I don't know. I watched it with subtitles, but I think it's Tamil.
Okay.
I'll just check actually. But it was a very good film. I think it was India's entry to the Oscars
Okay.
last year. A very good film.
Okay. Okay.
So a few times I've been threatened by people who hold positions in the BJP. Now that I will take seriously.
Yeah.
But
I
some
mean, you
random
would think,
flunky,
right?
yeah, for some random flunky, just trying to make a name for himself. Fuck that.
Dude, do you think? As I told you, this is not an interview by any means, but I'm just interested to know because you've been exposed to all these elements, right? From the people in the party, people who are opposing the party. So I'm sure when they hear a voice like you, I'm sure there are the opposition are like, dude, we found a champion in our cause through Kamra, right? But what is the youth like? I'm not, of course, don't have to come across as any sort of thing, but just from your experience, the young people in their 20s or the teens, late teens who come for your show, I find a sense, and this is my opinion in my limited experience of coming across these people, is many people being very rigid in their views and getting very sort of offended by contrary views, and the other extreme being people who are just like, you know what, I'm a millennial and I'm going to be. It's what I find. Finding it hard to articulate is very extreme viewpoints in this group, where it's either very pro or very sort of rigid or very sort of conservative or very liberal, very woke. Do you sense that happening?
See, I'll tell you, my audience is actually the guys who are first job goers and above. So it's between 24 and 40 is
Okay.
what the people who come to. The younger guys don't really come for my show, which is probably good in some ways. So they don't really come to my shows. But in the audience that comes also, what I get a sense of is that they are finding it hard to challenge something. But they want to challenge it. And they want to see a guy challenge it. So that is, when I start talking to them, I understand. And one guy told me something very beautiful, and he says, whenever I speak to my dad, it seems like I'm jumping on a trampoline, enjoying myself, but he really wants to see me fall down. And that was such an interesting insight he gave me, that he wants me to challenge Modi because he's unable to challenge the Modi in his life. That's why he's come out.
The fact that he has the insight, it really hurts then. Because to know, to say something that your own dad wishes you to not enjoy life is, it's quite a profound thing to realize, right? Because most people will be like, you know what, man, it's my dad, anything he says is right, and I'm going to do anything to abide by his rules and to impress him. And for this kid to realize that, or what, not kid, but young adult, whatever, is clearly, so that's really impressive. Not impressive in the typical sense, but that people can identify what you're doing. It's more of a metaphor of what they want to actually, the authority in their life, they want to sort of rebel against,
So I have this thing of engaging with people.
Yeah.
One person comes and they want to engage with the identity I have. They say something very superficial and they leave.
Yeah.
The second person who comes is very awkward, very troubled. unable to articulate. That
Yeah.
person doesn't want a selfie, doesn't want to talk about the show. He wants to talk about something he's going through, a
Yeah.
challenge. And that person, I feel that I have, over the years of doing these shows, and I've been able to understand that person who needs a conversation instead of a selfie. And that conversation having with them is far more important than, once a year saying that marks don't matter, or,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
worry about. No, that's
No,
not.
that's so amazing that you give the time, dude. Because I think identifying that's what your comedy is bringing out in people, um, is it takes time. And I mean, and not many people have the time because you're like, fuck it, man, I've done my show, fuck off now. You want a selfie? It makes me look good, but it is
Time
important,
is
right?
all we have, yeah. What do
Yeah.
we do?
No, and I really appreciate that you're doing that because a lot of people just think that you have used the political scenario as like a divisive way to get famous, which I think can also, it's a misconception. Of course, now talking to you and I know you and actually catching up after a long time without a public forum,
Yeah.
where it's like whether it's on Clubhouse where your fans are there or my fan is there. It's more of a heart to heart, which I mean, the fact that you genuinely care when someone has a troubled sort of story to share, you're able to sort of guide them, which I think is really the reason why
See, and
I
all.
think you can keep doing it with a clear conscience.
See, what happens is, like what I have learned through my life is that intentions and actions have to be judged independent of outcome.
Yeah.
I couldn't have engineered this to my benefit.
Yeah.
There was intention, there was action. Yeah, I'm on New York Times. Outcome.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I didn't do it for New York Times. So I feel I really respect Jeff Bezos because he wanted to make the biggest fucking warehouse for every book on the planet.
Yeah.
And Amazon would be able to freely transport that book everywhere to whoever needs it.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful intention. It's beautiful, man. Now the outcome. Who are we to judge? Look at the guy. Look at how he started. Look at where he's come now. He's going in a spaceship just for a dick measuring contest. That's his. But I would not judge the outcome he's come to. I would still be like, this man is fair, square. His intention, his action.
The same thing I was thinking about the
is
other day.
to
with
be
like
judged
yeah.
without the outcome. Forget the outcome. Intention, action
Yeah.
was in place.
No, like,
So that's why
some
that,
people talk about bad things about Sri Ravi Shankar or
Yeah.
Sadhguru. I'm like, wait a second, man. There are people who want to spread their knowledge of a better way of breathing, better way of physically, living your life, spending time, what you put into your body, mentally, physically, food. Now, the outcome, whether they have acres of land donated to them or what car they drive in, fuck that. It's not in their thing. But there are despotic leaders who are wiping away people, who are committing genocide. And we're going after these people. Like, I find it really sort of like they're not doing bad by saying breathe deeper. You know what I mean?
No, but see, Sandeep, I also go after them. All the religious gurus, whether it's Sri.
No, I'm not saying religious gurus. I'm saying like specifically like people who are practicing
spiritual.
yoga. Yeah, spiritual. Yeah.
Yeah, see, the thing is that he is practicing yoga. He is telling you how to do things which can make your life better, which are right. But
Yeah.
with that, he's coming and explaining CA and RC. He's calling JNU kids anti-national.
Who's
He's
this?
Sadhguru. He's like
Okay,
grabbing
Yeah,
land
that-
from an elephant corridor. So
Yeah.
I'm saying these things like Mana Rishi, all these people, they are
Yeah.
saying the exact same things with lesser clutter.
Yeah.
Now there is more clutter and lesser things that people are saying.
No, I totally. I'm totally aware of the fact that there is even in that just like a comedian with a tech rider, which goes beyond. The power gets to many of them.
Yes.
But I'm saying like some of them, like I don't know, Nityananda or Sri Ravi Shankar. I mean, what of course, once they go past that realm of spreading spiritual knowledge and then going and interfering in like, this group is not good for this group, whatever. That's a little. I mean, know your place and come on, man. There's no need to go down that path, right? Like
one of my childhood friends, 12 years from 2008 to 2019, he was with Sri.
Yeah.
He used to go to even prisons and teach yoga there so that the prisoners could, understand and introspect. And he's a very good yoga teacher.
Yeah.
2020, he came out of that fold, and I said, "Why? You were fucking fantastic." And he said, I heard some of the yoga teachers saying that yoga can avoid heart problems, and while they themselves are going for open heart surgeries, and I didn't like that. So there is that person who exists in this fold.
Yeah.
Who's getting all the niceness, who's passing it on, etc. There's no denying that this person exists.
Yeah.
I know this person.
Yeah.
But in the larger scheme of things, these people, because of the distribution, because of selling yoga mats and having acres of land and then getting Will Smith to sit with you and all, it's just that if small details.
No, I totally. I was just trying to make a point, like with the intention, right? Maybe the intention started off right, but now it's gone. The outcome is it's kind of like they've become the monster's taken over what they didn't want to become or something, right?
No, I think in most of the situation, the intention action sometimes is coming to this monstrous idea. Like even Baba Ramdev, in terms of just taking that whole hype of Western products are not, and then like importing shit from China and then like making jeans and all. So you can see malice through and through.
Right.
So they need to be not judged just on their intent. The intention also seems to be a little corrupt.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. No, but it's I think there's just a lot of noise in today's day and age, man. There's, as you said, there could be a communist leader with good intentions, and there could be a spiritual leader with bad intentions. Yeah, so I think it takes all to make this world. No, but I'm so glad that you're doing well, man.
I'm very happy that you're doing well. Good news to follow in the few months, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that I'm doing this podcast, because what you're talking about, that feeling of coming back to the table every day, talking to people, and of course stand-up is always going to be there, but I'm really enjoying this because it gives me a chance to sort of talk to people, and especially people who are already friends, not just someone I meet over the podcast, and to drop all pretext, right? There's nothing, there's no agenda, there's no game here, there's like I'm getting you get me on your podcast. No, it's just that I want to understand what things, and I really appreciate that you can talk about it frankly, because it takes a little bit of the fact that, hey, it's not the most comfortable question and thing, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I appreciate that, man.
If you can't talk honestly to a friend, then what chance do you have in life?
No, how are things? You're all good now?
All good.
No cancel culture, none of that bullshit?
Man, nothing. No.
Good, man. So, when's the special coming out? I'm excited that you're recording
I'm actually going to send you an offline soon. We're still in the midst of finishing it. I think in the next 10-15 days it should be out.
And it's in both, like, it's like an English-Hindi mix?
Yeah, it's mostly in English. But there will be, there's some Hindi.
Yeah, that I get. Yeah,
but I think it's 70-30.
And it's like a 1 hour show you put together?
Currently the edit is at like 1 hour 35 minutes, but I'm going to shave at least 20 minutes off and make it like a good 80-minute video.
Awesome, man. And it's going to be, you don't know where you're going to put it out yet?
No, I'm going to put it out on YouTube, free of course.
Oh, okay. That's another interesting move. And I think I want to talk to you about something I have after this recording, but we'll put this thing. But so it's going to come. You have any tentative release date?
I think in the next 10-15 days. And
this podcast comes out, I think, on the 5th of Feb. That's the following Friday. So maybe a week from then?
Yeah. I'm sure.
Awesome, guys. So if you're listening right now on the 12th, tentatively mid-February, during Valentine's Day, maybe just as a
for the love of comedy.
For the love of comedy. Man, congratulations. I'm sure there are lots of people who are excited to catch your first recorded special. Yeah. Of course, a lot of other videos which have gone super viral, and I think keep up the good work, man, and keep staying happy, I think, and keep in touch, and appreciate you doing this.
Thank you for having me, buddy. Thank you so much.
Cheers, my brother. Anytime. Thank you.